And that's when the beautiful feminine energy comes in as well. When you can really surrender and let go and just trust and allow that. And for that, many people need the support of an extra person to have that moment.
Welcome to the Shift Within podcast. I'm your host, Alice. I'm from the Inner Shift Institute, and I'm here to guide you on a journey inside of your mind. Our podcast is a platform for catalyzing both inner and outer shifts using the power of psychedelics and powerful therapeutic tools. Welcome to your new beginning. Welcome to your new life. Today, I'm really happy to introduce you to Cony. She's a clinical psychologist and an integral member of our retreat team and the Inner Shift Institute. And she's originally from Chile, but now residing in Portugal. And Cony brings a wealth of knowledge and experience as a Tantra practitioner and a yoga teacher. And today we want to speak about Psilocybin-assisted therapy and the feminine approach that we use at our group and also in our private retreats. Welcome, Cony. I'm very happy that you're here.
Thank you, Alice. Beautiful introduction. And I'm very honored that you invite me to be part of this podcast. And I'm very honored to be part of the Shift Institute.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into psilocybin-assisted therapy as a clinical psychologist?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, firstly, I studied psychology in Chile, and then I moved into the human resources area of psychology, and I was not feeling very fulfilled by that area, and I wanted more that connection with human, person to person, one-on-one. So I decided to go more in that approach and being more into the clinical psychology. And I was working in a corporation, still more towards the human resources area, but still having one-on-one interactions with clients and people that were working there. And from there I started connecting more with the body. From the body, I started connecting more with the yoga knowledge. And then with the yoga knowledge, somehow I ended up working with plant medicine myself. So this approach with psychology itself, for me, was not enough. So that's why I wanted to introduce into my approach a holistic therapy. So combining the body, knowledge, somatic, and also the effects that the plant medicine had on me. So I wanted to combine all that together and create a type of therapy like that. And then I had a beautiful invitation from a friend to hold space for him. I never did that before. I always was the client, for example, or with shamans or friends, having my own journeys, but I never did a journey or never hold space for anyone. So on my first journey, helping my friend was really beautiful and very transformational for him, because I could guide him through the trauma that was coming up for him in the experience with my psychology background and knowledge, and breathing together, working, even releasing and moving the body. So all that approach with the body knowledge and the psychology itself together with the plant medicine was just perfect. So that was my first call, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna open myself up to this world, and that's how it started. And then more and more people reach out to me. I started word of mouth, and then I started more studying how is the set and setting for to have the best out of the experience with plant medicine. And it resulted that it was very intuitive how I was doing it at the beginning, because I didn't have any studies about it. And the moment when I started studying it, I realized that I was already doing all that. So it was like, okay, beautiful to follow my intuition as well. And now I'm working at the Shift Institute with you. So that's how I learned also to have more the group setting as well. things that I didn't do before because I was more into one-on-one clients, and now I'm opening myself more and more to this experience with the group retreats, and that's also mind-blowing, beautiful experience as well. So that's my kind of like experience on how I got into plant medicine. But firstly, with the experience myself, I needed to experience that for me to open myself to hold space for others. For me, it was very important that, yes.
What was your personal most transformative experience on plant medicines?
I would say that was my first important journey. That was with ayahuasca. I was very, very scared because by mistake I had a double dose. So it was really, really intense for me. And the shaman was kind of like scared because I had this double dose. So it started wrong. It started with a lot of anxiety in the room because I had this double dose by mistake. And I'm normally a very anxious person. And by then, before that, I used to have these panic attacks, and I felt in my body that when I had the double dose, I was like, okay, my body kind of recognized this a little bit, even though I never had experience with ayahuasca before. But I started feeling like I was going to have almost like a panic attack. And then I trusted. I don't know how. I just allowed myself to trust. I was like, there's nothing else to do. I just allow myself to go and go through the fear. And then suddenly, when I could really let go, because also I had the support of my ex-partner by then and the support of the shaman. They were holding my hands, and that really helped me to go really further forward into the journey. And when I was there, I could really connect with my need of love, of loving myself. I was aiming for love, and I was asking, I need love, and I was always in my life before looking for the love outside, to feel loved by others. And then I hear the voice like, look inside of you. Everything that you're looking outside, it's inside. And when I did that, I made the decision, okay, I'm going to go for it and go inside. Yes, the love, it's here. And then this amazing image of love, pure love, or the creator. It was more like a feminine figure for me. And I could really feel that love within. So since then, I'm like all into, helping people to reconnect with their love, actually. Yeah. To find
That's really
love.
beautiful.
Yes.
And since then, did you have panic attacks again, or was that the end of it?
That was not the end. No, that was not the end. But yes, they decrease very, very, in a very important way. Since then, maybe I had maybe 2 panic attacks until now. And but now it's better. It's not as intense as it used to be before that experience, I would say. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's incredible how like these plant medicine journeys can really transform our mental health on a deep level.
Yeah, show us things that we were not capable to see. Maybe we knew that we needed to connect with our love, but we didn't embody that. And this is the difference, Any therapy to this type of therapy, that do you really embody what you're experiencing? Yeah.
So when we are guiding people through psychedelic journeys, we use psilocybin. So what's like the substance that is in magic truffles and that is in magic mushrooms. So in our psilocybin-assisted therapies, when we guide people through, we have a very feminine approach. And in this podcast, we want to talk about the difference between the feminine approach and the masculine approach. What's the difference and how you can be guided through a psychedelic journey, because many people are looking for a retreat center that is right for them, and not both approaches are right for everyone. So how would you explain in your words what the difference is between a feminine approach of guiding someone through an experience and a masculine approach of guiding someone through?
I would connect that with my Tantra knowledge as well, what I learned in studying Tantra myself. Tantra is all about the balance of the feminine and the masculine. So when you approach like a masculine way of holding space, it's actually just holding space, being there. Having a structure is more linear. And the feminine approach is more holistic. It involves also that linear approach, that structure, but also recognize that there is a flow and there is something that maybe we don't know. Maybe something will come up during the session that we need to be ready as well to hold space for that as well. And that's where we combine the feminine and the masculine together as holding space, but also holding space for that unknown, for the flow to rise with more, I would say, more in a nourishing approach as well. Like taking care of the emotions, validating everything that is going up. Feelings, emotions, reactions, incorporating as well our intuition as facilitators, and also inviting the client or the people that are coming to our retreats to use also their intuition as well, to connect more with their own wisdom. So we are like those whispers that are reconnecting with their inner voice and helping them to trust. Helping them to trust, and us also trusting our own emotions, our knowledge, and combining all this. So another thing that I really, that for me is really important from that feminine approach is like the invitation to be a little bit more closer to the person, a little bit more closer to the client, to allow the client to feel safe. So sometimes if the clients need extra support, I'm always welcoming the invitation to hold the hand of the client, to bring that touch, to bring that kind of like motherly energy as well, so they can rely, so they can let go and they can surrender into the experience. And that's when the beautiful feminine energy comes in as well, when you can really surrender and let go and just trust and allow that. And for that, many people need the support of an extra person to have that moment, So
yeah, I remember one of my own ceremonies where I was a participant. That was before starting the Inner Shift Institute. And I was in a ceremony and I didn't know about these two different approaches. And I was in a ceremony where they were using a masculine approach, even though there were women there. So when we say masculine and feminine approach, it doesn't mean that the whole team would be female or that the whole team would be male. There can be women using a masculine approach and men using a feminine approach. So I was in a ceremony and there were women in there, and something came up for me where I just really felt like I need somebody to hold my hand. That was all I needed. I just needed the hand to move through it because it was the most intense pain I had ever consciously experienced. Some like traumatic memory came up from my childhood. And I had no clarity of what it was, why it was there. And I just felt extremely like in a lot of pain, and I needed somebody to hold a hand. And I called over the facilitator and I asked if she can hold my hand. And her answer was, no, lay back down. You're going to be able to move through it alone. So this is the masculine approach, and there's nothing wrong with the masculine approach if it's the fitting, like if it's the right thing for the participant. For me in that moment, I had no idea that there were different approaches, and I just understood in that moment, I don't want to do this alone. This is actually re-traumatizing for me to do this alone, because what was coming up for me was a trauma from my childhood. And what was the most traumatic thing about it was that I was alone. So I really needed what we say a corrective experience, like move through the pain again, but not alone. And in that case, I came out of the experience and I felt more like re-traumatized because I could not heal the experience during the ceremony, but I just felt all the pain again, and I didn't really find a resolution because I couldn't have what I needed in that moment, and I was not able to find it within myself to the capacity that I needed. So I would also say that a masculine approach to a psychedelic ceremony is more like an initiation into your strength to be able to do it alone. And they do that a lot in South America. And it works really well there because the people in South America grow up in community, and they feel very supported, and they have a lot of strength from their community in, like supporting them from like in their core. And so then the psychedelic experience becomes an initiation into their strength, into their ability to do things alone. And the feminine approach, I think, works a lot better for people from our Western society because we have grown up in a place where there was very little community, where there was very little emotional support, and many of us have grown up feeling really alone in the world. Even though we were surrounded by people, we felt alone. So in a psychedelic experience, if it comes up and we feel alone, then it is absolutely, it just feels so nurturing and so healing to actually just have somebody there with you, and you feel like they really care. They're holding my hand, they're talking me through. It's like you face your worst fears, but somebody is there to give you support and nurturing while that. And the masculine approach is you face your biggest fears and you face them alone, right?
Yes, and that's not, well, as you said before, like validating everything that you said, like that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
No, some people will get maybe re-traumatizing experiences with that approach, and some people will benefit from that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So both experiences are good, no? But we also like what it's good for me. It's to feel also, to connect with the client before. And I know that some clients they need that space. They need more that masculine approach, and I allow that to happen. I allow that, and I just go, for example, sometimes like, do you need something? Are you okay? No, I'm okay. Okay. And I go back to my space and just holding space for them energetically, and that's fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some people need more, like myself, for example. I had those two approaches in my experience with ayahuasca when that was very intense. At the beginning, I was completely alone, and I was feeling like super left behind. And when I had that hand, I'd feel safe and I could let go of my resistance. And that allowed me to really go deep into the experience and find that love that I was, aiming for. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about surrender in a psychedelic experience? Because you shared before that at that moment you surrendered because you felt safe. Can you tell us about the importance of surrendering into a psychedelic experience?
Yes. And this is for psychedelic experience, and this is for daily life, I would say. Throughout our experiences and emotions that we're living and feeling, most of us normally we would try not to feel so much. No, we were raised and born in families that maybe they didn't care so much about validating emotions, and so when we go through emotions and we go through different situations, we kind of hold back and we try to fight it. Before, if I would feel anger flowing through me or sadness, I will not allow that to happen, and I will not allow that to really be expressed, no? And the moment that I started surrendering, the moment that I started like letting go of this resistance and allow the sadness to move through me and allow the anger, for example, or any other emotions that it was not good for me, so not good, negative emotions, but really just an emotion as well. was the moment that I had that transformation, was the moment that I could really connect to myself and accept the wholeness. So through a psychedelic experience, when you are resisting of any emotion or any discomfort, you're just resisting to the experience. And that's going to create a loop of discomfort, no? A loop of, and that feeling will start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Whether it's fear, anger, sadness, any so-called emotion that we don't want to feel, no? So when I said allow yourself to surrender, it's like allow yourself to be with that emotion. Don't fight that emotion. Allow yourself to give space for that emotion, because that emotion is there for a reason and needs to be felt and needs to be felt, no, in that moment. And that emotion or that experience has a treasure. And the moment that you let go of that resistance, that you make space for that to be felt, is the moment when the experience happens. So when the transformation is taking place as well. And the moment that you let go, the moment that you surrender, then you realize that that energy moves and transforms into something different. It doesn't stay there forever. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that it's more my approach to surrendering, and what is so important throughout a psychedelic journey, to allow yourself to have that moment and that space for anything that is coming up without fighting it, without the resistance, with openness and trust. Yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. And I really love how you link it to normal life as well. I had to learn from psychedelic experiences how to really surrender to my emotions, because I used to have a depression, and for me the depression was nothing else than resisting all of my emotions and bottling them up inside and not being able to feel anything anymore, just numbing out because I had just bottled up everything inside of myself. And then learning how to feel again has been, again, life-changing for me, because I healed the depression that way. And on my way of healing the depression, I learned that an emotion actually only has a life of 2 minutes if it's felt to its entirety. And that really blew my mind when I thought, like, okay, if I really don't resist that emotion, it's just gonna last for 2 minutes. But because we resist the emotion, we make it last for weeks and months and years sometimes.
So long, yes.
And so it's like, it's so important to surrender to the emotions, to let it flow through us, because, you know, the word emotion is just, it's the word motion is in it. It's emotion, energy in motion, and it just needs to flow. And if we can let it flow, it's going to shift into something else within 2 minutes. It doesn't mean after 2 minutes it's over, but sadness might turn into anger, and then that stays for 2 minutes, and then that might change into something else. So we're going to move through some emotions, array of emotions, until we end up feeling relief or joy or something that feels much lighter than before.
Yes. And that's kind of the feminine approach, inclusivity, no? Include everything that is happening for you and allowing that, nurturing any emotion. Yeah, as you said, energy in motion. And it shifts, and it shifts, and it shifts. Yes. Beautiful.
Yes.
I also had a client that also suffered from depression since he was 14 years old. And we were going through a journey together. He had 2 ceremonies with me, private sessions. And we went through deep, deep, deep emotions that he was not aware he had these emotions. He didn't know that he has so much anger. He didn't know that he has so much grief. And since the moment that he started like opening that Pandora box, opening that box to reconnect with the emotions that were suppressed, he no longer had any depression after, nothing. And the thing with the depression is like you're suppressing, you're depressing the emotions, are creating that. So the moment that you start and you go through it, and requires a lot of courage. Yes, it requires a lot of courage to go through the emotions, because for some reason our defense mechanism put it inside a box, no? To protect ourselves from feeling, for suffering, or any other reason. So the moment that you start opening that box, and the moment that you start with that safety, little by little, step by step, into your emotions, that depression starts also transforming. And yeah, it's very beautiful, because I had that client around 2 years ago, and until now he never again recalled how is it to feel depressed. He was like, Cony, if I want to connect with that feeling of being depressed, I don't know, my body doesn't know how to do it anymore. Yeah, he just needed that reconnection with the emotions. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's
beautiful.
incredible. And that's why they say it's like 10 years of therapy in one day, because it takes down your defense mechanisms, and so you can go, and if you have somebody there with you in a feminine approach, and that's what you need, you can really go in deep and face your fears about feeling emotions and actually feel them.
Yeah.
I have another question for you. How do you balance the spiritual aspects of the psilocybin-assisted therapy with its therapeutic benefits?
The spirit, I would say the spirit approach for me is connecting to the realms of energy, connecting to the realms of energetic, and allowing my intuition also to guide me. When I connect with the spirit, first of all, I love to open the space, creating that approach, also creating that call with the spirits. And how I do that is connecting to the elements of nature as well. Calling in the guides, calling in the element of water, the fire, the air, ether, earth for grounding. And that's a connection straight away with the spirit, with the spirituality as well, with nature itself. And that's inside of us. And with that approach, as I allow my intuition to guide me through the journey, I also combine it with my scientific approach of psychology. And as I said before, like normally I would feel into my client, what the client requires more in that moment. And sometimes I don't have to use my, I would say, more shamanic or spiritual approach, but I have to use my pure scientific and psychology approach and go through the trauma and guide them and ask them questions, and more even as coach as well throughout the sessions as well, so they can find their own answers, rather than some clients need much more the spiritual connection, the guidance, and maybe not so much even words, maybe just that energetic connection that we have, an energetic connection to energies itself in the world. And I love combining these two, because I think that's the holistic approach that I was speaking about before. So when we combine that spirituality, the connection with our spirit, the knowing that we are spirits, knowing that we are energy, and combining it with the elements, combining with that inclusion of also the mind approach, of also the scientific approach, and the importance of that set and setting as well. That's when for me, when magic happens. Yeah. So that's why for me it's super important to create that energetic protection as well. No, we're energy beings, and we're very vulnerable when we are taking psychedelics as well. We open ourselves to the higher spectrum of everything. So if you believe in energy, or if you don't believe in energy, it's important that you create a protection as well for you, for your realm of spirit, for your realm of your own energy, no? And I like to start all my ceremonies, and I like to start all my therapies with that as well. Even when I'm talking about like not even psychedelics, even when I'm connecting with a client as a psychologist as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and that is so important. And even if people listening right now don't believe in energies, I just want to note that most clients who come to us, most participants of a psilocybin journey come out believing in energy because they have experienced it.
Yeah.
So that's why we feel it's incredibly important to not only work in the clinical approach, but to combine it with the spiritual approach and the energies and energetic protection. Yes. As we come to the end of our podcast, is there something else that you would like to share?
Something else that I would like to share. I love how we have this approach, how we combine everything, how we allow our intuition to guide us as well, how we allow our wisdom and experience to guide, and how we validate every client, I feel, with this nourishing and loving energy that we bring. And I feel that's a very important thing as ourselves, not as our name as well, because working with other groups, for example, with other businesses, I would say, if I call it businesses, I don't feel that there is this connection, this approach, and this like holistic way of seeing as we do. And that's why I'm very happy to be part of this, the Inner Shift Institute. So yeah, it's been beautiful 2 years or more, I would say, and I'm very grateful to be part of this, and to feel also validated as my way of approaching and connecting with the clients. No. Because I can have my way, but for example, maybe you will tell me like, no, that's not allowed. But here it's so welcoming. And that's how I feel. And that's how I think most of our clients, they feel when they leave a retreat, for example. They feel so welcome, so honored, so validated. And that's the transformation itself, to give that space. And you're giving that space to me, and we're giving that space to our clients. So yeah, it's very beautiful. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for being part of our team. And that's why I immediately felt like you were the right fit for our team, because you were already working the way that we were working. And so it was the perfect match. And I completely agree. I really feel like the people come out of our retreats feeling maybe for the first time in their lives that they are good the way they are, and that there's nothing wrong with them. And that's something that can be given when we use that feminine holistic approach, because you could go through your deepest fears and have somebody next to you who says, yes, you can do it alone, but you cannot do it alone. You really need a hand, just like me. And you come out of that experience. I came out of that experience feeling like crap. But if somebody had actually been there and held my hand and used the feminine approach, I'm sure I would have come out of that experience feeling like, wow, I've gone through something difficult, but I feel really good now because there's nothing wrong with me. And that's the difference. And yeah, again, there's nothing wrong with the masculine approach if this is the right thing for the person. But for me, it was not the right thing. And that's why I created the Inner Shift Institute, because that's what I needed. And that's what I wanted to give other people as well. And so I'm very happy that we found you as amazing retreat leader.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you so much for this conversation and for this podcast. It was really lovely to speak to you.
My pleasure. And I hope this also creates that bell and that little sound for people to open themselves also to experience this type of therapy. That it's like, as you said before, it's like 10 years of therapy. For me, it also works like that. I have my clients coming for normal therapy and clients coming only for this type of therapy, and it's mind-blowing, the transformation. Things that they were not able to see in many years of psychotherapy as well before.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's an invitation for everyone to give it a try and trust. And us. Yes. Yeah.
And surrender.
And surrender. Yes. And be held by the feminine energy.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
And for our listeners, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. And if you want to know more about us, you can follow us on social media under the Inner Shift Institute, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can come visit our website. And please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so that you can listen to all of our other episodes too. And if you, as listeners, have any questions, if you have ideas for another episode, please write to us because we can incorporate your feedback.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Shift Within podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe for more insightful conversations. Keep asking, keep understanding, keep shifting within, and see you next time in the next episode.